We are here today for one reason, because the American people are watching their leaders. They're watching their leaders at every level of government, and they're watching those who choose to protect illegal alien criminals over their own law-abiding citizens. It's not rhetoric. It's not hyperbole. It's not a Republican talking point. It's just fact. Let me be very clear. This is not about politics. This is about public safety. This is about law and order. This is about whether the United States of America still has the will to enforce its own laws. We're coming out of the largest border crisis in American history, and the American people continue to live with the consequences every single day. During Joe Biden's presidency, more than 8 million aliens crossed the southwest border illegally, and that's at a minimum. There are probably many more. There are a lot of numbers out there, but we know at least that many. 6 million of them were released into the country. They were given legal advice. They were given food. They were given education. They were given transportation. They were given shelter, and in some cases, even debit cards, all on the American taxpayer's dime. And at least 1.9 million gotaways crossed the border and escaped law enforcement altogether. Didn't even know who they all are and where they all are living. The open southwest border created a drug crisis, a human smuggling crisis, and a violent crime crisis. Unfortunately, none of this was by accident. It happened because the Biden-Harris administration chose chaos over control, ideology over enforcement of the law, and politics over the American people. The numbers just don't show a crisis. They show a full-scale collapse of our sovereignty, our security, and the very idea that a nation without borders is still a nation at all. The worst part of it all is that it just didn't happen. It was designed. On day one of his presidency, the Biden-Harris administration canceled border wall construction. Day one. It gutted the Remain in Mexico policy. It abused immigration patrol authorities to release hundreds, thousands of illegal aliens into our communities. It virtually stopped enforcing immigration laws on the interior of the United States, which resulted in more than a 60% increase in ICE arrests during the first few months of the administration. And the Biden-Harris administration turned a blind eye to the spread of violent gangs like Tren de Agua and MS-13 across the country. The result? Terrorists on watch lists entering our country, criminals with prior convictions for violent crimes such as assault, rape, murder, being released instead of removed, and an immigration enforcement system overwhelmed, underfunded, and pushed well beyond its limits. The only bright side of this chaos is that the American people made their choices overwhelmingly clear by rejecting these chaotic and terrible policies. They removed President Biden and Border Czar Harris and gave Republicans control of the House, the Senate, and the presidency. And now, President Trump is back in office and finally doing what should have been done years ago, restoring order, rebuilding capacity, and demanding accountability. But he inherited a system that has been pushed past its breaking point. ICE has more than 7.6 million aliens on the non-detained docket, up 135% since the day that Biden took office. Agents are scrambling to track dangerous individuals who should have been deported long ago. Right now, ICE needs more detention space than it ever did. But the same voices that created this chaos are now trying to shut down the very detention facilities that are needed to fix it. That's why this hearing matters. From New York to California, local politicians are actively working to undermine federal immigration enforcement. Perhaps the most egregious effort is in my home state, the great state of New Jersey. And we're going to play a quick video now showing this.
An ambulance there apparently turned away at the ICE detention center in Newark.
We've seen at least 2 ambulances try to pull into this ICE detention facility here in Newark, New Jersey, and they turned that ambulance away.
The detention facility holds members of MS-13, murderers, arsonists, drug traffickers, American killers.
We want freedom. Free our people. This is sacred ground. Free our people. This is not a legal facility.
On May 1st, Delaney Hall, a 1,000-bed detention facility in Newark, New Jersey, was officially reopened. It houses illegal aliens charged with crimes like rape, murder, burglary, and weapons offenses. Facilities like Delaney Hall are desperately needed to help prevent dangerous criminal aliens from remaining on our streets, on your streets. The reopening of Delaney drastically expanded ICE's detention capacity in the Northeast and enhanced the agency's ability to manage the increasing number of enforcement and removal operations of illegal aliens in our country. Despite the severity of their crimes and illegal status in our country, those being detained at Delaney Hall are treated with dignity and are housed in a facility that exceeds the standards of many of our own U.S. prisons. It has clean dorms. It has indoor and outdoor recreation areas. It has mental services, mental health services, and medical services. It has phones, webcams, and consular access. And yet from the moment Delaney Hall was reauthorized to operate as a detention facility, it has been under constant, relentless political assault. Local officials have used inspections, lawsuits, and bureaucratic hurdles as weapons. Not to make the facility was operational, but to completely shut it down. Outside of the facility, there have been coordinated protests led by political figures, including Newark, New Jersey's own mayor, who publicly vowed to, quote, padlock the building if necessary, and declared that immigration enforcement of criminals is not welcome in his city. This isn't oversight. That's not oversight. That's obstruction. There's a big difference. It's lawfare designed to undermine federal authorities and score political points at the expense of our public safety. On May 9th, the tension culminated in a shameful display by the mayor of Newark, New Jersey, and members of Congress who stormed into the facility without clearance, without following protocol, and physically disrupted law enforcement operations. They cursed at staff. They shoved past security. They assaulted federal law enforcement officers. And for what? To free whom? Criminals? I'm going to show some more pictures. So the question I have, was it to free Hugo de la Torre Tomia, wanted for prosecution in Peru for the crime of raping a minor? He's wanted in Peru. Was it to free Jorge Luis Sanchez Luna, a Mexican national who is a registered sex offender who sexually assaulted his own daughter? Or was it Lopez Reyes, a Mexican national who's wanted in Mexico? They want him back in Mexico. He's a fugitive for the offense of raping a child, raping a minor. There are hundreds of other awful, horrible individuals like these men currently being arrested in New Jersey, and they're being held at Delaney Hall. And they should be. They should be. So let's be honest. Who exactly are the Democrats fighting for here? This is the part I don't get. Because it isn't the American people. It sure as hell is not the American people. And notably, the very next day after the altercation at Delaney Hall, Mayor Baraka's super PAC, for those of you that don't know, that's a way to raise money, lots and lots of money, released campaign ads touting his efforts to stand up to this agenda as part of his run for governor. It's obvious what happened here. This wasn't about the detainees. It wasn't about law and order. It wasn't about American people. It wasn't about all those marginalized people who get hurt because they live in and around all of us, marginalized Americans. It was about politics, pure and simple. Maybe not so pure. Mayor Baraka was mayor of Newark when Delaney Hall, and I want everybody to listen to this, Mayor Baraka was mayor of Newark when Delaney Hall operated under President Barack Obama. He was the mayor, President Obama was the president. This very facility was operated under that administration. There were no protests, no walkouts, no stunts, no altercations, no attacks, nothing at all. But now that President Trump is back and the American people have rejected the insanity of having an open border, now the mayor and his friends in Congress are outraged. Give me a break. Let's call this what it is, an orchestrated campaign to protect illegal alien criminals and to sabotage federal law enforcement. Just say that one more time. It's a campaign to protect, not illegals even, but illegal criminals, violent criminals that also have broken the law because they are here illegally. So when Democrats say they're just trying to help by raiding federal facilities, remember what this really means. They want ICE agents gone and out of the way. You have to believe they want criminal aliens free on our streets. And they're willing to risk public safety, sabotage law enforcement, and lie to the American people. You can't stand for law and order while voting to hurt the police. You can't say you're for border security while sabotaging every single tool that works. Let me be very clear. Delaney Hall is not the problem. Delaney Hall is part of the solution. The real problem is the radical left-wing agenda that sides with criminals over citizens, activists over agents, and chaos over common sense. To the men and women of ICE, this committee has your back. To the communities of New Jersey and the Northeast and the United States of America, we will not let your safety become a political casualty. And to the American people, we hear you. We hear you loud and clear. You want a country that protects its citizens. You want a system that upholds the law. And you want a government that chooses order, not anarchy. That's exactly what House Republicans are fighting for. And I promise you, we will win this fight against left-wing chaos. And I thank you. Just before we start and move forward, I want to address one other thing. We're going to have a hearing today, and sometimes it's going to be contentious, sometimes it's going to be hot, sometimes we'll be argumentative. That's part of America. Now, you all just listen, but up here. But at the same time, let us respect each other. Let's not speak about our demeanor, our dress, our physical stature, our hair, whatever in God's name people think of. This is the Judiciary Committee, and we're going to run this on both sides of the aisle in an appropriate way. We're going to run this like ladies and gentlemen that profoundly disagree on an issue.